I think so that people were now full of energy on the first sessions to speak, and of course the timing is very tight. If you have only 15 minutes and the topic is interesting and then you have to cut it and go forward, it's very stressing. So we would like to maybe continue with the tight timing, but don't stress, take it easy. So now also take a sip of coffee, relax a little bit. Now we have here a couple of lightning talks and then keynote speech about open cultural heritage, topic that might not be so familiar to all of us. And before that, I would like to take again look through the open space topics. There were people having discussion on business related to open data. Anybody here who participated in that discussion? No, they are still good. So it was decided ad hoc because there were people who were interested in that topic. But now, after this 1 hour, we will go back to the open space. So there will be. Actually, I don't have the slide of the agenda, but you have in your agenda. There will be again the pitching of the sessions that will come after this. But also there will be opportunity for some open space topics. So I will ask now on these few here. Anybody interested in speaking about open postinumerot case? Only one. Pekka, are you listening? So 2. Will you have the discussion now or later? After this or later? After this. So at least there will be one open space discussion after this about open environmental information. Right. Would you like to have it now, after this or later? Later. So know that. Open democracy. There is Sami, Maija, Jonas, and Raimo. Are you interested in having it after this session or later?
After this.
After this. So there will be 2, then about, okay, this was already. There will be 2 open space topics after this discussion here. And if you have more, please bring on this board here and we will continue. But now I give voice to Juha that will introduce the lightning talk speaker.
Thanks. So let's try to follow the example of the previous session where the lightning talk presenters stayed in this 1 minute frame. That was an impressive thing. Now we have, for the next 3 lightning talks, we have a little bit more time, a few minutes each, and then at the end we will have this very short sprints. But I would like to welcome the first presenter, Ville Peltola.
Okay, hello everyone, Ville Peltola from IBM. Question, how many of you have heard about MIDA, M-I-DA? Roughly half. Okay, so this is the topic of this lightning talk. It's about a UK government program where they have collected about 20 to 30 companies, big names, banks, Lloyds, Royal Bank of Scotland, Scottish Energy, and so on, to always give the customers' information, data, back to them in machine-readable form. And now the UK government is threatening the other companies in UK that you will do the same, or you will try and do the same. They are threatening to make new laws that will enforce this in the future in the UK. Why? They want to fuel economic growth in UK, so that, for example, a startup, A can do something innovative with your energy data. A startup B can do something innovative with your, purchasing data. Startup C something innovative with your, let's say, health data. This makes sense, right? So we need to have the same thing moving forward here in Finland. and I'm pretty sure that this community can help in that. I think that's it.
Thank you very much, Ville. Amazingly short. So, and the next presenter would be Tuukka.
So my name is Tuukka Hastrup, and I'm the Code for Europe Fellow for HSL this year. I wanted to give you all a short update on what we are up to at the moment at HSL, although we also have these 2 breakout sessions, and we already started the visualization one, but you can still join us after this when we have the next breakout sessions. So I want to talk a bit about Code for Europe, a bit about the HSL developer community at the moment, and a bit about this new HSL Navigator project. So the Code for Europe program launched now. We were 2 or 3 weeks ago in Barcelona for the kickoff event, and in addition to Helsinki, the participating cities at the moment are Barcelona, Rome, Amsterdam, Manchester and Berlin. And basically what this means is that we, the fellows, the 13 of us this year, we are funded for this year to go into these public institutions and help them open data and develop apps based on their data and the data that they have opened or that we can open. And the other fellow here in Helsinki is Juha Yrjölä at City of Helsinki ICT department, and he's working on open Ahjo data and its applications. Ahjo is the system where all the meeting minutes and agendas are, so that would be one place for citizens to follow what the politicians are doing. So my objectives at HSL for this year are to grow the existing developer community, to lead this new open source project, and to open some new data on the way. The current situation at HSL with the data is that we do have had for several years already the route information about next departures, the timetables, line maps, information about disruptions in the traffic, some real-time vehicle location. This includes trams and metros at the moment. And then also journey planner for cycling and walking, in addition to the public transport journey planner. And all this data is available at this address developer.reitiopas.fi. If you want to access the API to make your own routing, this you need to apply for a username and password. You just need to send a form. And what we have gotten this far is more than 30 mobile apps. So HSL hasn't developed smartphone apps, we get them for free. Here are some of these apps. BusFaster has developed something that is not based on the API, but instead on the open data. And where do we go next? We have these more than 30 applications and all the developers behind, but we don't have good connections with them. We want it to be a more cooperative community, and to, in ideal case, have this community take into account passenger needs, HSL goals, ideas from many places, and as a result have an open ecosystem with not only open data and the open API like at the moment, but also open server code that the community can improve on, and some example client code, so it would be easier for people to create new applications of the data. And so one of these new applications would be this HSL Navigator, which in one sentence is effortless and predictable, like using a car navigator, but now for public transportation. So the system would tell you when you get off the bus to the stop and need to change to another route, it would tell you, do you have to go to the left or right at the station, so you find the next bus. And also this would include real-time data, so if your bus is late, it could tell you where to go next. And yeah, this will be an open source project which you can follow in GitHub. And we, in this project, will only do a simple mobile browser user interface in HTML5, and others can then do native applications. And you can read more information in this wiki address. Yeah. Please join the community. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and GitHub. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tukka. So Sanna is now ready. So Sanna just arrived from another 2-day Open Data event, and is kind enough to give us a keynote.
Kind of a keynote, as you can see. Thank you, and I was thinking that I could share the floor together with my colleague Mariana Salgado, but I can start so when we're talking about our initiative more, then she can also share the floor with me. My name is Sanna Marttila, and first, before I tell a bit more about myself, I'm just gonna briefly want to draw your attention to this fantastic event that I was for 2 days. It's organized by the Museoala, what that is in English? The Union of Museums, maybe? And it was hosted in Atheneum, and there were 160 people talking about openness, open data, and how to open the Finnish cultural heritage. And we had interesting talks, and I think the videos will be available, so I asked you to go and see them. And also there was a lot of discussion on Twitter about what does it mean to be open, and what does it mean for museums and so forth. They're really, really interesting discussions. But today I was thinking that I would share some notions about open culture, and why I suggested this topic here was that I have had so many questions about what is this open culture and what is this open glam that you're doing. What is it? Is it like glam rock? Do you have like some kind of fancy clothes and so forth? And I was like, no, well, I should have had those kind of David Bowie hair and the glitter and stuff like that, but sorry, I don't have it here with me. So I come from Aalto University, from School of Art and Design and Architecture, and I'm also been involved with Creative Commons Finland, and nowadays also with the Open Knowledge Finland Association, and I'm a member of the board. And also I've been active in this open glam that you will hear a tiny bit more in the future. And this is Mariana. She is also been active in this open glam, avoid glam work in Finland, and she nowadays works at the Applied Science University Laura. Sorry, the slides are partly in Finnish, partly in English, so bear with me. And she has done her doctorate on open museum and what does it mean to design for an open museum. It's available online if you want to hear more about it or read more about it. So how all this began here in Finland is that when the OK Festival started, there was this discussion about how to get the open culture movement or open culture initiatives there also being a part of it. So there was a group of people that suggested open cultural heritage track to the OK Festival, and to my surprise it was quite successful in terms of how many people participated, like just practitioners wanting to do stuff with open culture. Also, the amount of people coming from the cultural institutions and memory institutions to take part of our seminar. And also we had an expert meeting. So this gave me hope that maybe things can change also in Finland. Maybe. Well, what is Open GLAM? GLAM stands for Galleries, Libraries, Archives and Museums. And this is a quite new initiative from Open Knowledge Foundation. I think it's a year and a half ago that this working group started. And it is a network of people that try to work together with memory institutions and other institutions to open up content and data for use and reuse. And they have this nice blog, and this is their logo. So we're trying to open not only the data, not only the metadata, the descriptive data, but also some of the content. That is a tiny bit different if you compare to the other open data movements. When this OK festival was, we were planning to have it, and I was thinking like we have to have this also a Finnish initiative, and we co-initiated this Avoin Plan. So, because I noticed that not many Finns wanted to take part of these English discussions. I don't know, was that true of only myself? I don't know. But then we started this Avoin Plan initiative. And you can find it also avoinglam.fi. And we thought that, okay, now there is our momentum. Now we can push towards openness. That we can actually talk with the Finnish memory institutions, cultural institutions, and because this fantastic OK festival is coming. So what we started to do was trying to map and understand what is the situation in the Finnish context. Is there already some data available? What are the memory institutions doing? And do they even know about what is open culture and what is open license and so forth? And try to understand these different levels of openness. Because as you know, in cultural institutions and art institutions, there are more questions related to copyright than, for example, in governmental data or public data. So there's a lot of concern, like how do the artists get their money? How, if you're a photographer, how do you get your money? If everything will be openly available and so forth. And then today I will share some of the initial results from our workshops, because we took the initiative to invite people to be this kind of a networking component in this mix, and invite people to talk about their experiences and understand what is this all about. So we started to facilitate opening up the cultural data. At least we hope so. This, how many have seen this triangle before? I have borrowed it from the Foundation's resources. And I think it's a good illustration of all the different levels of openness that you can when we talk about openness, we sometimes forget that we are the ones, the activists talking about openness. That's a language that we have developed ourselves. And there are so many different levels that how we can actually approach this. And this I have noticed when I have talked with the cultural institutions, because they have talked a lot about this accessibility issues, saavutettavuus in Finnish. They are experts in that, and they thought that the accessibility was same as being open. So it was there's different concepts or different language, but the same concepts. So what I'm talking about today is mainly about we could think about that we here are the movement, but then there are these practices and procedures that are within the institutions that we should also understand more. Because, like, I would claim that the biggest obstacle for Finnish memory institutions at the moment is not about the money, it's not about the copyright issues or the IPR, it's about the processes. It's about the working culture within the organizations. And I will come to that later. So, digitization of our cultural heritage has been the biggest promise, I think, in cultural field in the past years, in 2000 onwards. And it had this great promise of getting rid of the gatekeepers to our cultural heritage. It had a promise that we could all be part of creating our national and European history and identity, and especially our memory. Well, and the amount of money that has been put into this, it's like, I think it was even in EU level in 3 years, one funding instrument used 150 million to digitize this content. And the jargon that was used there was that, okay, we're going to create more transparency to our culture, that people have more access to these wonderful audiovisual archives. I was in one of the projects that was doing this European, pan-European level digitization of audiovisual archives, and we had a fantastic schema for how to select the content and so forth for this portal. And when we made the survey afterwards, so what happened? How did you select the content? And they say like, well, we just took what there was already available. So what did we do actually with the taxpayers' money? Access to information, the key principles of open society, and also this participation. Actually, this is Mase's picture from his figure thief. I don't know where he got it, but I think he went to some... Oh, actually, it's quite bad quality, but it's like digitizing books. But also it had this digitization of cultural heritage, give us this idea of that we could be full members of an open society, take part of these different processes and practices that we are creating, commenting, enriching the cultural heritage. What is your feeling? Do you feel that you are engaged with our national cultural heritage? Hands up. Who is? No one, really. Well, who has the keys, these locks? Unfortunately, still, we are using the old concepts of restricting access to our digital cultural heritage. We use geographical locations. It's the same concept that we use for, like, if the museum is open, that only researchers can go to this library, or you can only touch this and that, and please, hands off. But also in digital domain, they use like this, the geographical location or the country borders to restrict the culture. Of course, and then today and yesterday I have had lengthy discussions about what size of and resolution of images we should put online to our cultural heritage institutions' web pages. And then somebody had this great idea that it's okay if you just put it like the small ones, and then you cannot actually use them in a print quality of books and nobody can sell them. And then I was so happy that from Rijksmuseum, Lisi Jongma gave an example that they had found 10,000 of items from their most famous painting, digital copies, that are so bad quality that they decided to give the best quality version online. How many minutes I have, Steve?
5.
Shit! So the new gatekeepers, I thought I had 30 minutes. The new gatekeepers are the code and the IPR. Okay, I will skip all this about doing things together. But I want to tell you something else, because this is an example that I showed at the thematic days just recently, because I wanted to show the Finnish memory institutions, like, what is it if I want to find pictures from the resources available now online. So I went to this, I had the keyword February in Finnish, and I went to Finna service to find pictures, and this is what I get. I don't know if you see the watermark in the pictures.
Yeah,
They're really big. And even this fox that has been escaped is watermarked. So it cannot run freely. I could not even share it anymore. Okay, then I thought that, okay, maybe this Finnish service portal is not that mature yet, that I go to Europeana. Europeana is the prime of European cultural heritage, and it should be the main access point for all cultural heritage in Europe. And what I found was 2 pictures and audio files with the search item February. And I was thinking that nothing has happened in culture in February, and then I just like, okay, I might go to the Flickr to verify that if this is the case. I found 2,704 items about the same search item. And all these were Creative Commons licensed pictures. There were of course more, but these were freely available. And I wanted to highlight that these memory institutions, like what kind of picture will give to audiences, different communities, to our Finnish culture. I will skip these fantastic examples. But then this is the example that I told you. I will share the slide so you can go and read it yourself. Okay, in Finland, we are in a situation that luckily in a European level we have gotten some tools, these keys to have these arguments and open up their cultural heritage. The PSI, the Public Sector Information Directive, and for access and reuse is in the process now at the moment. The changes in the... Okay, I will start again. There is a new version, a new suggestion for PSI directive for access and reuse, and memory institutions, to include memory institutions and cultural institutions. So the public sector information that is produced in memory institutions should also be part of this directive. That is a really important thing when you think about that memory institutions have to change their practices. There's also other nice reports that we can quote on, because it seems that the arguments are not developed enough. And the main concern what memory institutions and like museums in the past 2 days told me is that it's money, that we cannot do it because we don't have the money, the state doesn't support us, and actually we have only these few people doing it, and we get money from these selling these pictures. Medium-sized museum, guess how much money they make in a year? I asked.
1,000.
10,000 euros. They make money out of selling these pictures. And I was asking, like, is that really worth of keeping it locked? And luckily there were some people also from the ministry and they heard this. I will skip also. Can I have 5 minutes more? Is that okay?
I think if you finish in 5, then...
I'm sorry. Just to give you some... they have made some calculations about it, because it's all about money. So in 10-year period to preserve and provide access to cultural heritage in whole Europe, in all European member states, it would be 10 billion to 25 billion euros. And it sounds quite a lot. In over 10 years, like it's 1 billion a year. But then when you think about how much does it cost to make a main road in Europe for 100 kilometers? It's 750 million. 100 kilometers. Think about how much roads do we have. I would say that we have right to have our cultural heritage as much as we have right to our main roads.
But that's the cost of building new roads, right? Not maintaining them.
That is true.
So you have to build them and you have to maintain them.
Yeah. So it's actually more. I was kind enough to put this number. Okay. I was also prepared to talk about the open culture movement quite a lot, but I would like to show something positive that has happened in Finland, because we have to maintain positive attitude. We have a lot of museums using social media nowadays. It's not, it's a surprise because they are actually, most of the museums don't own the content or even the pictures, so they are not actually even allowed to link them in Facebook. And there is a new service called Lähteillä that has even completely open data catalog and one catalog of pictures. National Archive has released in high resolution these wonderful maps that we could use. Of course, there's the Helsinki City Libraries, or the what? And then this is Finna. Do you know about Finna? No, some people do. So it's a Finnish National Digital Library. It's a national project to be an aggregator for Finnish culture. And what is fantastic about this that I want to promote in this situation, because is that they are hoping to use Creative Commons Zero license for the descriptive metadata, and this they will send this proposal to the ministry and to different memory institutions in next week. So if you happen to hear about this, I hope that you lobby about this using Creative Commons licenses. But I did not talk at all what we have done already. So that we have organized these fantastic workshops together with the memory institutions and the practitioners, and we have gained a lot of information about how they are actually open and what are their role and task in the society. I cannot go them through. And what are the principles of openness and what they would like to do, and what are the challenges in not doing so, and how they could, what ideas they have to actually build more accessible and open organization. This is a bit sad that but I will just share the slides so you can find them. But this, when we're thinking about the task or the mission of our movement, this, I would like to stop here that what are the needs of these organizations, and this is like the 3 highlights that they said. To have more training and education, and also having shared principles of what does it mean to be open. And they would like to network together with other institutions and other movements and communities. And I think this is what we can do best, be there and help them to find the right people that can help them and give them the knowledge that if there's something missing. So, we all have the keys in our hands and we just need to open the locks. Thank you. And now there's at least 15 minutes for the discussion. One question maybe, yes. No, okay. No. But thank you for your attention. One question. Somebody must have one question.
I would propose, because you have the Askelmerkit starting
Oh yes,
now.
I forgot to mention that.
Yes, so you can pitch that. We will have 1 minute for pitching that. And I would propose that you take the questions there, because we are indeed sort of running late. Apologies that we had to rush due to technical hassle and all this other stuff that was happening here. So, yeah, thank you very much, Sanna. And if all the hosts of the sessions could come here to the front, and then we will have a very quickly paced circus of 1 minute presentations of the upcoming sessions. So Hanna, Niifuga is here, Ville Peltula, Sarkmatla, Leolahti, Tukka Hastu, and then Tapio Nurminen and Pekka Sarkola ja Ko Moilanen. So let's maybe start, okay, and Joki is Mr. Kellokalle. So 1 minute and
Let's start quickly.
Okay, the fine art of facilitation is typically taught in courses lasting minimum 3 days. I will teach you that in 50 minutes.
Hi, I'm Hanna. I'm going to be running a session on City Labs developers. So we're a bit continuing from the sessions in this morning about the municipality data initiatives and HSL Navigator and all that work about, so moving from opening the data to utilizing the data and cherishing the developer community around the data. And it's actually very much Tuukka did a good job for me because he had a very nice slide from HSL with the developers in the center, but then the end user needs and the goals of HSL related to it and all kinds of new ideas. So that's the kind of ecosystem we're talking about, and the whole point of the session is to hopefully have the same people from the morning session who are working on the municipality data and to talk about how all cities in Finland should operate so that the developers could easily create new innovations and services based on the data. So please.
Hi, I'm Tapio. I'll be having the group on open energy data. And to start with 2 questions. How many of you can log into your utility company's system to see how much energy you use? What of you? How many of you have done that in the past 1 month? Oh, some have. Yeah, but we'll be discussing whether this process should be easier. Then to start, then talk about a little bit of the previous our current situation. Then some arguments and counter-arguments as to opening this data. And finally, we should come up with a couple of ideas that could be done with this data if this data was open. Thank you.
Hello. We are building open source tools, algorithmic tools for open data in Finland. It's a Sorvi toolbox, if you have heard about it. It's in open source computational language R. And we will have 2 main focus topics. One is traffic and one is decision-making data associated with the Data Wallet project. Welcome to join.
Hi, my name is Pekka Sarkla. I'm hosting the community management session in 6 o'clock. Just after this session, I will discuss about at least one person about the Finnish open post area codes or whatever. But about the community management, I think that everybody here is part of some kind of community, at least the Open Knowledge Foundation Finland community. But you are also running the communities. So I was thinking that what the communities could be and what I have to do as me as a community manager. I'm not the best person to do, so I took the Jarkko Moilanen from Tampere, the nicest city of Finland, and Jarkko will know everything about the community management and he will explain. I hope that after the session we have some kind of plan how to make the best practices of the community management in Finland.
I just wanted to say that we're still continuing the public transport data visualization session. So if you want to learn how to do visualizations, please join us.
Yes, and Mariana and me were gonna host Askelmerkit avoin CLAM session. It means like what should avoin CLAM, open CLAM working group of network do in Finland, and we are asking your help. Come and plan with us and we'll talk about the different initiatives and plans that we already have.
Okay, so stay here, and now you have heard those sessions, and as I mentioned in the beginning, there will be 2 of those open space topics discussed here. So the open postal codes now, here, and open democracy. So those of you who are interested in those topics, you are free to stay in this room, and there will be nice discussions on those. And then there was raised questions on two things that I want to mention quickly. All the sessions, we hope that you do some kind of recording of your discussions, and there is an opportunity to open Etherpads on the Open Audits Foundation Etherpad site. Find one of us who are in the core organization to help you with, and we collect the links to the web page. That was one question. Another question was if there is going on any kind of chat discussion during the sessions. And during these main plenary sessions, it's okay to use the Adobe Connect suite that goes directly online. There is chat also. And in Twitter, there is the hashtag OKFFI with double F, OKFI. So, please stand up, find the person to follow, and take it easy. Don't stress even if the timing is tight. Enjoy.